Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today is our Techniques Tuesday, and we are making what I call speed beading, some centers or embellishments for flowers, but they can be used for other things as well. They're like a cabachon. So some basic supplies that you need, of course, are needles and thread, and you want to make sure your needle goes through whatever beads that you're using. And today I'm using these, they're just very inexpensive pearl beads, and they're about an 8mm. I'm also using some of those nasty craft beads, that come in all different kinds of colors. I've got a big bag here, and you can find these at the thrift shop very, very easy. Same with, I've got a big bag of these gold ones here. So we're going to have a play, and there's a couple of methods I'm going to teach you today, but this is a fun one to get started. And then I'm using some 2mm gold beads, just a plastic bead. And I do have seed beads here, like what we used in the last episode that we were doing centers. I do have seed beads. I'm not going to show you with seed beads today because it takes a little longer to use them, but I will show you the effects of using these. So this is a very simple, easy way to do some fast embellishments, and in any color that you can come up with as far as finding your beads. It doesn't have to be an 8mm bead. It can be any size you want it to be. You just have to do some checking before you get started, placing your beads just to get an idea of how it's going to look. And yeah, you can use any beads you have, which is why I didn't tell you to bring anything to the table, because there's so many different factors that you want to look at when you're doing your own. And I'm showing you more than one method, and of course, I always like to save the best for last. So the other method of doing this will just blow your mind, and some of you halfway through this video will figure it out. There are some of you that are seasoned artisans here, that like Caroline and Barbara, you're good at this. Sue, you're good at this. So there are a few of you that are really on the ball with this stuff, and I bet you halfway through the video you're going to go and you're going to know exactly what I'm going to show you in the second half. Let's see who does actually know. You got to be honest. So I have some pieces of felt here too that I'm going to work on, just like I did last time, just some little strips so that I can kind of hang on to it and do my beading. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to string 6 of these pearl beads onto my thread, and it is knotted at the other end, but we're not going to go right to the end. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Where are you? It's easier to just put them down and find the hole as we go. There we go, 6. So I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. I'm just going to slide it down a little bit. So I'm going to bring it not quite to the end, so that you see the knot is here. I could leave it unknotted. You don't really need the knot. It's just that if you're not careful, the beads will slide off and you'll be doing this indefinitely. So I'm going to grab both ends and I'm going to tie it into a knot. Okay, and then another knot. And like I say, always 1 for good luck, or 3 knots. And then you've got this nice tight round circle, and I'm going to cut this piece of the thread off. We don't need it. So you want to try and cut it fairly close, but not too close. You don't want to cut it open. And then I like to lay it down on my felt and just stick the needle in through the center, out of the way. But I don't actually put it down yet. I've got it turned over, and I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on 2 of these beads on the bottom side, what we would call the bottom. And then I'm going to flip it back over and just press it into place. This just helps to hold your beads in place while we do the rest of the work. So now I'm going to peel this back, and we know where the bottom is. I'm just going to put a dot of glue on each of those spots, trying not to get too much, just a little bit. Now you can use your white glues, your liquid glues. The only thing is you have to wait for a little bit more drying time. Now I can feed the needle back up through the center and bead on my center bead, but it's just as easy, honestly, it's just as easy to put a little dot of glue in the center, trying not to getting it anywhere else, just a little tiny dot. You don't need much more than that. I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to use the red bead. I thought I was going to use gold, but I'm going to use the red bead. Now, I could call this done, just like that. Bam. It's a great way to use up all your little bits and pieces, you know, of beads, and you can interchange them with other colors. It's done. They're all glued down, so you can cut around this, and it's ready to go. But I want to have I want my beads to look a little bit more elegant. So I've got that thread now coming from the back side. I'm going to come up from the center on at any bead. It doesn't matter where, but you want to come in on the inside of the string so that the string from the bead, or the thread from the bead, is over there and your needle is in the center, and just pull it up. And again, this is going to depend on the size of beads that you use as to how many you need for the next step that we're going to do. So I already know I need 5 beads for this. So I'm going to string on 5 of these little gold beads. Maybe. 1, 2, 3. Just sliding around on me here. 4, 5. I've also been doing this for a while today, so I always like to do these before I actually teach the class, just so I don't run into any snags. And then you're going to pull the beads tight on the thread, and then taking your needle, you're now going to go on the outside of that same thread, but you're going to push the needle in towards the center, so that this way you're really hugging the thread, like against the thread of the beads. And this way, when you cut around, you're not going to have any interference, because your thread's going to be tight inside there. So I'm just going to now pull it. And I always stick my thumb or a couple of fingers in between so that the thread doesn't get tangled up on you. And I pull it gently until it wraps around those 2 beads. So what it's doing is it's hiding the thread. And I just play around and pull it nice and tight till it's sitting where you can see the beads there. And you may have strung it and you say, oh, maybe I could have used 6 beads, or I could have used only 4. Maybe it's sticking up too much and you really could have only used 4. It's not to say you don't cut your thread and undo it and do it again, because you've glued the bead in the center and you've got your beads on here and they're glued down. So you can undo this by just cutting the thread and pulling it out and starting over. But I'm happy with the 5 that are on there, and I've done a couple of tests, like I said, so I know that it's secure in there. So now my thread is at the back, and I'm going to again bring it through the center. And you can see where my needle has come out, I hope. So I'm sort of in between these 2 beads now, but I'm on the inside. So I'm close to the red bead, and I'm on the inside of the threads that are between the 2 beads. Pulling it up and then adding my 5 on. Sorry, it takes a couple seconds. This is not the fastest thing to teach online, and I could fast forward it, but you know, I like to make you suffer and watch it or fast forward yourself. So now I've got my 5 beads, and on the outside of the thread, I'm just going to go again through the felt on the outside, closest to the thread as I can get, and keeping my finger to hold the threads. I'm just going to pull it tight. And make sure that it wraps around between the two beads. And then adjust your beads a little bit. Do you see where we're going with this? Isn't it going to be gorgeous? Now, you don't even have to use a bead as the center. You can use a button or, a small gem. Although, if you're going to use a small gem, if it's one of those flat back gems, you want to make sure to lift up the gem a little bit, just like we did last time when you were doing the seed beads around. So I'm going again. I've come up through the bead close to the red bead in here, and then we'll bead onto the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then on the outside of the thread and pulling it around. Nice and tight, and checking your beads to make sure they're all lined up. And this makes a gorgeous, gorgeous gem. And it just cracks me up when I see people spending so much money on these things. And I know that you can make this so many thousands of different ways to both save money and create something that with stuff that we already have in our stash. Okay, pulling the beads nice and tight and going around the outside. Just 2 more, you guys, and then I'll be done. And if I make up my mind to make these things, I can sit and get so many done in no time at all. So I didn't even talk about it here. I went through again, coming up on the inside and now feeding the beads. I think at this point it's same old, same old. You guys know what I'm doing. Five beads. And like I said, depending on the size, you may need to put more than 5. So you just kind of test and see how it goes around. But you start from the middle. This way they're nice and snug and tight inside. And just keeping my finger in place where I want this to end up. And then I always just adjust my beads as I go along. You'll see exactly, when you're doing this, you'll see exactly what I mean by adjusting the beads. Isn't this going to be gorgeous? Look at that. I always get excited, especially when I'm doing different colors and they start coming together. It's just so amazing how pretty they look and how easy this is to make. Okay, so the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and going back through on the outside towards the center. And we are done. I'm just pulling that nice and tight. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now I'm going to turn it over and just quickly do a knot in the back side here. Oop. Okay, and then I take my needle and I pass it through the felt a couple of times just so that the threads aren't hanging out right where I have the knot. And trust me, this is not going anywhere. Now that you've got it glued down as well as stitched, it's not going anywhere. But for good measure, I do take my white glue and I will put some glue all around the edges here. Put the cap back on. And either use your finger, but today I'm using my glue spreader because I don't want to get glue on my pants again. The other day when I was doing stuff with you guys, I had so much glue on my pants by the time I was finished because I kept wiping my hands on my pants. So there, it's glued. I'm just going to leave this sit, and we can do the next step afterwards. Oop, I see one of these has kind of moved over on me a little bit. I'm just going to do a little shift there. And yeah, it's ready to go. So I'm just going to lay that down and take another piece of felt. And I could do the very same thing all over again. I do them with all different kinds of beads. Like I said, the best thing to do is to do a little test with your beads to see how they're going to fit. You know, whether you want to go around a bigger bead. I tend to like to work in the 6s. And then, you know, it doesn't matter what you drop into the center, just so you can have an idea of what it's going to look like. Even though it's not done yet, you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I do the same procedure. You don't have to add these beads onto it. You can just string those 6 on, put your red one down the center, and you're done. And if you want to see how to do that, just go back to the beginning of this and see how I did it. It's only 6 beads tied in a knot, and then glued down to your felt, and away you go. So I'm going to put these aside. Actually, I'm not even going to move them aside too much. Just a little tiny bit. Because this is what I love showing you guys, is other ways to do things. Now, how many of you, I wonder who had the brainwave. How many of you have these in your stash? Or you've passed them up at the thrift shop because it's like, what do you do with these nasty things, right? Now you're going to be running to your Christmas decorations and seeing if you've got any gold or any color. You might have pearl ones. You might have yellow ones. I've got quite a strand here, so I'm just going to cut this off. Really doesn't matter where I cut it. But we all have seen these at the thrift shop. And half the work is already done for you. So what I'm going to do, because they're 8mm, I'm going to take 6 of these, just like we did for the pearls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These nasties, you are going to be so looking for them. Not only are these are those Christmas garlands. You can see them in the children's section as little necklaces. They're all fused beads. You probably have some. Maybe some beaded curtains had these fused beads on it. Mardi Gras beads. Any of that kind of stuff can be used. So I've got 6 beads here, and where the string is, that is, like you can never really cut close to that string. So where the string is, that's where I'm going to put the hot glue, and you have to be kind of quick. I just put a little drop. You can use your acrylics too, but then you got to wait for it to dry. And then taking the other end, and it takes a little bit of maneuvering, I'm going to just kiss them together. Until the glue sets. Okay, so there's my 6 beads. Now, there's no top or bottom, but sometimes you might find them that they have a little bit of, where they've been rubbed off, the pearlization is rubbed off. So you want to just double check it to make sure that they look good on both sides. And where I just glued the 2 together, I'm just going to put a dot of glue on each of them, just like I did with the other style, on the bottom, and lay it down on my felt. So now I can pick this up and I can hold on to those 2 beads, peel back the felt, and put glue on the 4 bottoms that I haven't done yet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then lay it down. And you do have a little bit of wiggle room to, smoosh them into place if you're not quite sure how you like them. Which is what I've done here, is just smooshed it into place. And I'm going to use a green one for the center. So I'm just going to cut off one purl, and I'm going to drop a dot of glue in the center here, just a tiny little dot. And I could already call that done. Isn't that cute? That is so cute. And it's so inexpensive to make and so easy to source these materials. So I could just let the glue set, cut around this on the felt. There's nothing to do, and it is ready to use as an embellishment. But, we want to make everything fancy pants, right? So I'm going to knot my thread here really quickly. And I'm going to use the same gold only because it's faster, but I will show you the seed beads. It takes a little longer because I can't see them so easily. And coming up on the inside, next to the bead, next to a string where the beads are held together, I'm just going to pull my thread up so it's on the inside of the flower, and I'm going to string my 5 beads, or maybe 4. It depends on how I like how it looks. I think I'll try 4 and see first. And you want to push it. Ooh, I actually came right through my felt, so I'm going to go and do that again. My knot wasn't big enough, I guess. Actually, what I'm going to do, just in case I've got the hole here, I'm going to just feed it through. You can see. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to bring it through the center. Sometimes if you don't have a big enough knot, you'll run into that problem where it'll pull right through the felt, because this is not probably not the most quality of felt. Okay, so I'm going to try with 4 first. Sorry about the delay. And see how it is once I've got it nice and tight against the bead. I think I'm still going to do 5. And that's the thing, is you can always do 4, and if it's that horrible, just undo it and do it again. And then going on the outside of those beads. And I like to make sure that it's going right exactly where I want it to go, and then maneuver the beads a little bit, pulling tight. And then back up into the center to the next thread. Okay, so I can add, I think I said 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then going on the outside towards the center. Pulling them nice and tight. And just continuing all the way around the bead. All the way around the flower. And it doesn't hurt if you want to knot it sort of halfway. So I'm going to do that this time around after I do this one. 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. And then on the outside of the bead and the thread, pushing towards the center. And that's just so that when you're cutting your felt around the bead, that you don't accidentally cut the threads you just put on. Okay, so once I've got them in place, I like to, I didn't on the first one, but I do like to, just for the beads to be nice and secure, I will knot the thread every couple of times and then proceed from there. So I'm going through the next one here. I'm close to the green bead in the center, lined up to the next thread. I hope all that makes sense to you guys. And half the work is already done using these fused pearls, and you can pick these up so easily at the thrift shops. Check your child or your grandchild's toy box. They might even have some of these in their stash of dress up stuff, and you can make some really beautiful little embellishments. And even the nasty looking Mardi Gras plastic ones, they look just as cute done like this. And you can add a little bit of glitter on top if you wanted, or some of your stickly things and twinkle stuff and sparkly things. Whatever you've got can be brushed on top. I always like to add a little coat of varnish on top of these, or nail polish, only because it just makes them shine that much more. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Now I'm running out of thread. I should have enough to go around here, but if I didn't, I would just stop, knot it where I'm at, and just pick up again with another thread. But I think I should have enough here. And then going back up, close to the green bead. And sometimes you have to adjust them as you go along. You'll see that they've moved around a little bit on you, and it's just a matter of pulling the thread, and the thread will make everything nice and tight again. And this is the last one. And then I'm just bringing it around. Now this is the one that had the glue on it. So again, I still want to go underneath, and I just stabbed myself from behind with the needle, and pull it nice and tight, and then knot it at the back if I have enough room. I don't have enough room for myself, so I'm just going to run it through the felt a few times, because I'm going to put glue on the back anyway, so I know that that's going to hold. So I'm not even going to bother to knot it. And this way I have enough thread to go around. So how many of you thought of these fused pearls when I started doing this, realizing that you could do this with that? And it's much faster, and it uses up all of these, these little cheap little beads that come on a strand. You've all got them on your garlands that are in your, and you probably have some fun iridescent ones or colored ones, and a great way to play with these and use them. And there is the finished bead. Now, wouldn't you have paid a lot more money for something like this at your, online shops? And we made it with nothing. You saw right there, just some nasty little pearls and some pretty little gold beads, and it's done. Very inexpensive. So we're going to let those dry. That's all I'm going to show you as far as how to do it. It's 2 methods, and then it's just a matter of choosing other beads and other styles. Now first, I'm going to take these beads and just show you how you can do it with a multitude of different kinds of beads. So go and play in your bead bucket and come up with different methods. So you could have a bigger center like that and then have smaller beads all around it, but you're going to need more. You're definitely going to need more to go around that bead. So let's just have a look here. And it's going to look, you know, funny at first, but play around. See what you can come up with in your own collection. See, now this one needs, there we go, that would work. And so this one needs 2, 4, 6, this one needs 8 to go around. And it will still make an equally gorgeous flower. Because even though these beads are much smaller, by the time you add the seed bead or the gold beads, the acrylic, like the 2mm beads or whatever you want to add around it, you will find that it will all balance out and still create this large beaded cabochon that will look gorgeous. So always experiment and don't run out and buy, you know, things when you've got things in your stash. And yeah, you're going to be making a lot of these, I know, and I want to hear all about it. Please, that would just make my day. The more you tell me of how much you're doing, the happier I get and more excited to show you. Now, I have lots of other ideas of what to do with these beads. So don't think that this is a waste of money to buy if you're not going to make these flowers, because I have lots of ways that we can use these and reuse them in projects for different things. So that'll come up. But here's a couple more that I made. Can you tell me which one was the, can you tell me which one was the loose pearls and which was the real pearls? Well, there was the loose and there's the real. And I did, here's another one, because I couldn't stop. This one I have to, I only put 4 beads on this one, and so I have to maybe glue them in order to get them to all sit on top nicely. So I may run a little bit of white glue and then push them all up so that they're sitting nicely, because I only put 4 on these. And I was too lazy to go back and take them apart. This is one done with the little silver beads, the little silver seed beads. And it's stunning, isn't it? And it's just fused pearls in the blue, which I have, and I have the clear ones too. So there's the clear that I used for the center. Nasty as all get out. They're not very shiny. I would probably use some varnish over top of this after. And there's the same ones in blue. So you can see what I've used to make this. Now with the seed beads here, I needed 10 to go around. So it's just a matter of figuring out what you need in order to finish off the beads. And then when they're done, I thought I had more. Here we go. Here's one that is completely finished with the, again, just the craft beads in the reds and the golds. Same thing. So you can make them up any which way you want. And so to take them or to cut them out, I just take my scissors. Now this has got the glue on it. It's dried and crusty now. And all I do is I take my scissors and I cut around it, being careful not to go into the threads. But if you've glued it, it shouldn't make a difference anyway. In the case of the pearl beads, the thread is inside, and even on the ones where they're fused, the thread is inside, so you don't have to worry about cutting that. It's the little gold beads or whatever beads you add on afterwards that you have to worry about. But you don't want to go too close, but at the same time, you're not going to notice this felt anyway if you're putting these into a flower. So yeah, this one I shorted myself on the beads, and I was too lazy to go and start from the beginning. But it's not that bad. I'll just glue it in place. So if you look how gorgeous these are. Aren't they just beautiful? And I am going to be playing here all afternoon after the camera shuts off, because it takes a while to upload my video. So I'm going to be playing all afternoon with these. And here's the yellow one. And there's another one there. Like, look at that. You'd pay big money if you went to buy this online. So, do you remember the flowers we did last week? That I said, you know, I couldn't commit. I couldn't commit to anything because, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do and how I wanted to mix them up. It's even worse now. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It gets worse and worse all the time as you make these things. Let's have a look at that one. Well, let's put it on a base here. Isn't that pretty? What if I use this nasty beaded gold and red one? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Or what if I went and added this on top? Let's see, add that with the, let's just add that and the red and that on top. Beautiful. I want to make a whole ensemble. Just add that in the center. So that's it for my video for today. It's pretty fast, pretty easy, and I expect to hear that you're making hundreds of these because there's no expense. It's cheap like borscht, as we say in Canada. Cheap like borscht. Right, Thelma? So you can make these any which way you want. I just love this one. It's so pretty. And it doesn't matter which one you use. You could use that one or you could use the pearl center. Just gorgeous. And yeah, we can get even fancier, but that's enough for today. But, you know, we're going to keep going with this and making some other fun things. So next week, we're going to be making a different kind of flower, that is, again, pretty simple. And we're going to be using these centers for those flowers. Maybe, or maybe we'll use the old centers. I don't know, but we'll be making a different flower next week. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave me comments below. Please. Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. I have this, this came off of a little girl's dress. It's just those red petal flowers that they have on the dresses. Oh yeah, there's two things I wanted to show you. Watch what happens. Like, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Just fluff up the flower petals a little bit and glue that in place, and you've changed the look of that flower. There you go. Look at that. So very easy to dress these up. These are also, oh, look at this one is much fluffier. These are also very nice to add on to snippet rolls. For your snippets, you just hot glue them down or manually stitch. But one more thing I wanted to show you was I have this crocheted pillowcase I haven't taken apart yet, but I plan to take apart all these doilies, cut them out. Watch this. Now, of course, it'll be nice once this is ironed, but look at that. Bam. Instant, beautiful embellishment for your journals. Nested right into the crochet doily. And, you know, not all crochet doilies come with this little circle, but it really wouldn't make a difference. I would just maybe gather up a little bit of lace like that and then put it in the center. Isn't that cute? Or let's see, this one's still, let's do the pearl one. Very easy to do. Okay, I'm going now. So have yourself a very creative day and a creative week. And please do let me know if you like this and you want to see more. And if you're going to do these, I want to see pictures. I want to see how many you made. I want to hear how many you made. And I want to know if you caught on to this before I even showed it. You know, because some of you, like I said, you're on the ball. And I wish you all a creative week. And tomorrow is Wednesday, so it is Happy Mail Day. And I have a few, and I'm going to the mailbox tomorrow to see if there's any more. And we're going to have a big Happy Mail reveal. So that'll be tomorrow. Thursday will be a Thrifty Thursday. I do have Thrifty Canucks. I do have lots of goodies to show you that I picked up at the flea market. Finally got to go on Sunday. So I picked up a few goodies, and I'm anxious to show you what I got. So that's it. That's all. I will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.